Good evening. We have a nice crowd here for our Jacksonville Beach Candidate Forum. So welcome to the Beaches Watch Jacksonville Beach Candidate Forum. I'm Maria Mark. I'm the interim president for Beaches Watch. For those of you who are not familiar with Beaches Watch, we are a nonprofit, nonpartisan civic organization whose mission is to promote and facilitate educated and productive citizen involvement in local and state government decisions that affect the quality of life here at our beaches communities. We achieve this by raising, monitoring, and researching issues, providing factual information to the general public and the elected officials, encouraging citizen participation in the solutions to beaches' growth and quality of life issues, and organizing citizens for action. And we host candidate forums such as this one. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping items. For those of you who've not come into the community center before, the restrooms are just right outside these double doors. Just a couple of announcements as far as Beaches Watch goes. We are seeking nominees for our annual Give Back Award. This award recognizes and awards a $1,000 donation to a nonprofit that enriches the quality of life for our beaches residents and community. So this award is given at our December monthly meeting, so we are encouraging you to please nominate your favorite nonprofit organization for this award. Our early membership renewal has kicked off, so if you want to renew tonight or join Beaches Watch, please see Eileen Krimsky. She's in the very back at the sign-in table. She'll be glad to take your money. Also, this year marks our Beaches Watch 15th anniversary. So every April we hold a member guest social, and this year we're going to have a really nice giveaway basket for those who renew early. That'll have 15 really cool items to mark our celebration. So, on to the candidate forum. So the ground rules for our candidate forum. Our timekeeper is Sarah Bob. She will hold up a 30-second notice, and when your time is up, you will hear this. Due to the number of candidates, each will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves and 2 minutes for a closing statement if time allows. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer the question, and we'll rotate the questions among the candidates so no one candidate is always responding first. Please refrain from applauding until after the forum has concluded to ensure that the candidates have uninterrupted time to respond. The candidates were also sent written questions, and their responses and the video of tonight's forum will be posted on our website tomorrow. They will also be available after the forum tonight for one-on-one questions, because due to the time, we will not have time to take questions from the audience. You just need to make sure that we are out of here by 9 o'clock, or we all turn into pumpkins, and we send you the bill for the additional time. So, I want to introduce the candidates. Let's see, Corey Nichols may be running late. We had a little snafu with the city manager candidate interviews for City of Jacksonville Beach. They were supposed to have been last week, and then, as you know, Hurricane Michael showed up, so they had to reschedule, and they could only do that tonight for the reception. So he may be coming in late. But running for City Council District 1, Seat 4, we have Shandy Thompson, and Corey Nichols hopefully will show in a little while. Running for City Council District 2, Seat 5, we have Georgette Dumont and Joe Loretta. And running for City Council District 3, Seat 6, we have Sandy Golding and Dan Jansen. So let's give them a hand. Okay, so we will begin with Ms. Thompson. And if you need me to repeat the question, because I know there's going to be some time in between when you answer, I'll be happy to do that. But please introduce yourself and tell us how you intend to earn your constituents' public trust.
Hello, my My name is Shandy Thompson, and I have been a homeowner in District 1 for almost 10 years and lived in District 1 for over 12. I plan on earning my district's trust by continuing what I'm doing. I have been an advocate for our community, speaking at multiple council meetings, workshops, and planning commissions, continuously advocating to how to better our community. Until now, I did not feel I needed to run until I realized I was the best option for my voice for my community. I live on West of 3rd, so I experience both sides problems. I see east problems, east side of 3rd problems, our downtown issues, and also our west. As I've gone door to door, I've had my platform echoed constantly with public safety, strategic growth, and investment back into our community. If elected, I'm going to continue to reach out. I want to make sure that your voice is being heard, and that as a representative, I'm still representing you throughout the whole 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dumont?
Good evening. I'd like to first thank Beaches Watch for holding this forum and for all of you for showing up on off Wednesday. So thank you very much. My name is Georgette Dumont. I am running for City Council in South Jacks Beach. That's roughly 16th Avenue South. And the main question is how will I earn the trust of the constituents who live in South Jacks Beach? I, like Shandy, would continue what I'm doing. Currently, I am doing a monthly newsletter, and I'm making sure that everybody's getting that email to them who I have their email address for. And in that newsletter, I'm letting people know what the events are that are going on in the city, what key issues are going on that will be impacting their community. Everything from Sunshine Park over to the beach renourishment, as well as the landscaping on South Beach Parkway. My goal is to make sure you all know what is going on with your tax dollars, and that is really critical. So you know why that's really important to me? I am a professor at UNF, an associate professor in public administration. I teach graduate students, and when they graduate, they have the option to become future city managers and department heads. I have dedicated my life to government transparency and accountability and studying government and figuring out how to make it work best. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Loretta. I am running for seat 5, the Southern District here in Jacksonville Beach. Thank you all for being here. It's amazing to see all you here. It's just pretty wonderful here. I moved to Jacksonville Beach in 2001. I purchased my first house in Central Jacks Beach in 2002, and then I've been living in South Jacksonville Beach for about 5.5 years. I sat on the city's Board of Adjustment for a 10-year period in the mid-2000s. The city's Board of Adjustments, it handles variance requests. What that means is if you have a lot coverage type issue or a setback type request, if you're wanting to build a pool in your backyard, you need a little bit more lot coverage for a pool deck. Currently, I also sit on the City of Jacksonville Downtown Development Review Board. This is the design review and approval board for everything that gets built in downtown Jacksonville. You know, really the reason I'm looking to gain your trust and why I'm choosing to run is I really want to run in enhancing your property values, maintaining your rights, keeping just a fantastic quality of life out here, concentrating on better pedestrian and bicycle connectivity, and then focusing on downtown and downtown safety. Professionally, I'm a land planner and landscape architect. I currently manage the Jacksonville office of the Genesis Group. We're a full-service civil engineering design firm with 100 total employees statewide, with main offices here in Jacksonville, Tampa, and Tallahassee. Really, in the end, this past Monday was just a great reminder to me as why I believe I would be a fantastic candidate for you all and why you should gain my trust. The first 5 topics, they all dealt with land use, with utilities, with infrastructure, with pedestrian safety. These are things that I deal with on a daily basis at my job, and this is why I believe I'm a great candidate for this position. Again, Joseph Loretta, running for District 5 in the Southern District of Jacksonville Beach. Thank you all very much.
Good evening. My name is Sandy Golding, and I'm running for Jacksonville Jacksonville Beach City Council District 3, Seat 6, which is the North District. And I want to thank Beaches Watch for hosting this forum tonight so that you all can learn more a little bit about us. To tell you a little bit about me, I grew up and I was born and raised in Alabama. I earned my bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from Auburn University, and I met my husband when we were both working for Motorola. My husband Jim grew up here in Jacksonville Beach. He graduated from Fletcher High School and from the University of Florida, and we've been married for 29 years. My professional career has included 15 years in project management with experience leading multi-million-dollar international projects for Motorola. And for the last 15 years, I've worked for nonprofit organizations, and I currently work for an organization called Best Friends Animal Society. And I've decided to run because I've been very involved in our Jacksonville Beach community for the last 17 years. I've been a staunch advocate for our quality of life and ensuring our community is a great place to live, work, and play. And my involvement started 17 years ago when I led a volunteer group to get a dog park here in Jacksonville Beach. I started going to city council meetings, and I began to learn about the issues that were important to our quality of life. And that's when I realized how important it is for citizens to be involved in the decisions made by our local government. So in 2004, when citizens were concerned about overdevelopment, I led the effort to put a height referendum on the ballot, and it was passed by 76% of the voters. For 14 years, I've been the founder and the leader of Beaches Watch, and I was instrumental in getting the downtown vision plan consultants hired. I was also involved in the efforts to save the ferry and the beaches library, and I've also served on the Jacks Beach Police Chief Selection Committee. I graduated from the Citizens Police Academy, and I'm a volunteer for the police department. Bottom line is, I've been a community leader, and with a proven record of getting things done in the community, and I look forward to answering your questions tonight.
Jacksonville Beach is home. Jacksonville Beach is where we're raising our families. Good evening, everybody. I'm Dan Jansen. I want to thank you for coming out tonight and taking time away from your families to learn about the issues that are facing Jacksonville Beach and to just take the time to meet all the candidates that are coming out and they're committed to helping our great city. I think it's fantastic that everybody steps up to the plate, and I commend my counterparts here. From Seabreeze Elementary to Fletcher Senior High to leading the cold case homicide unit of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, to my wife Becky and I raising our kids right here in Jacksonville Beach, to my mother who lives on 6th Avenue North in the same house that my siblings and I grew up in. We are generationally invested into this community. My main priority for Jacksonville Beach moving forward is public safety. I have a 26-year distinguished career with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. And moving forward, there is no better time than right now to put somebody in place in the city council that has public safety experience. Councilman Thompson, who is the former police chief out here, his seat is coming up vacant. Councilman Vogelsang has 2 years left in his tenure, then he'll be leaving. And that will leave nobody a void in there for public safety experience. I intend to bring that my experience to the city council and earn your trust by making sure that our downtown area is as safe as it can possibly be. I'm tired of going door to door, talking to our residents and them saying to me, listen, I don't take my family downtown during the dark nighttime hours. So we need to change that narrative. I ask for your support on November 6th in selecting Dan Jansen as your next city councilman. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, we'll start with Ms. Dumont. How do you plan to improve the quality of life for the Jacksonville Beach citizens?
How do I plan to improve the quality of life for Jacksonville Beach citizens? That is my main platform. My whole platform is built off of the quality of life for all of you. And I'm going to do that through 3 ways. The first one is public safety. With public safety, I too am a graduate of the Citizens Police Academy. I also volunteer every week at the police department in the records room, so if you have problems, you come in and I help you out with whatever your problems are. So I understand what is going on downtown, what is going on throughout the city intimately. So, and I do ride-alongs with the police, so I do understand the public safety, and I know I have different strategies on what I would like to do to see some things change there. The second piece ends up being smart growth and smart development. And when I say that, I really mean we're having an issue when it comes to density within the city. One of the things that I see a lot on the Planning Commission, that I'm a member of the Planning Commission now for about 6 years, and in the last 2 years there has been a dramatic increase in the number of townhouses being built in the city. And some of them are 2-unit townhouses, others are 6, and we've all seen these. That is having a negative impact on the people who live in those neighborhoods and in those communities. During the recent Planning Commission meeting, we were looking at reducing that number from 6 to 4. My opponent spoke in favor of keeping it at 6 for the developers. He spoke in favor of the developers. And I think that really does have to be brought down to 4. The third one is government transparency and accountability, and that is something I'm very passionate about. It's my whole area of research. The government, specifically Jacksonville Beach, has just invested $3 million over 3 years for a whole new technological infrastructure. You should have seamless experience with government. You should be able to pay your bills online. You should pay your parking tickets online. And you should be able to opt in to what the information that you want. Thank you.
Mr. Loretta?
Thank you. The question was, how do we improve the overall quality of life out here at the beaches? It's a great question. I'll go with 3 reasons why as well. First, I want to make downtown work. How do we make downtown work? There's a multitude of things that can make downtown work, but I would like to say professionally in my office in Tallahassee was the project manager and lead designer for Gain Street redevelopment in South Tallahassee, where more than $500 million worth of private sector work effort was brought in to downtown southern Tallahassee to help revitalize a poor area that was struggling. You know, in the grand scheme of things, what we need here are people who have connections throughout the state and throughout, you know, quite frankly, the eastern coast, to be able to assist downtown and actually figuring out how to make it work. Beyond that, you know, I really want to run on bicycle and pedestrian connectivity. How do we make some of these things work? I live in the sanctuary in South Jax Beach. We got 2 connections right there, Osceola and Jacksonville Drive. Neither are really overly pedestrian or bicycle friendly. Quite frankly, not even remotely bicycle friendly. First Street from 37th or from Ponte Vedra Boulevard all the way up to the S building. In no way, shape, or form is that a pedestrian or bicycle friendly roadway. All of this really needs to be looked at and improved. And in the end, I sat on the Board of Adjustments for a 10-year period. I listened to probably 1,500 variances in my 10 years. That 1,500 variances, I would say a good 35 to 50% of them were folks just wanting to build a pool in your own backyard. I mean, it's just, it's a little frustrating here that it's that difficult for the average homeowner to build a pool. So my goal is to be able to assist you in figuring out how to make that happen. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I forgot to say in the beginning, please silence your cell phones. A couple have gone off in the middle of the presentations. I know it's very distracting, so make sure it's on silent. Thank you.
So things that I would like to do to improve our quality of life here at the beach. Quality of life is something that I've been focused on for the last 17 years, and it's an issue that's very important to me and has been for quite some time. And many of you will know that there have been a lot of issues that I've been involved with that have been a part of our quality of life, primarily with the height referendum. Now, the Central Business District, that is something that people in our district, when I've been going door to door, they've said that this has been an issue, that nobody wants to go downtown. One of the things that is really interesting, though, is that public safety here, our violent crime has gone down 3% since 2013. So we're doing relatively well as far as public safety goes. Our police department's doing a great job. They're accredited, and they have an officer that's certified in something called CEPTED, which is Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. And she's been working with the businesses in our downtown area to help them do what they need to do to make their business safer in the downtown area. One of the other things that I'd like to do is I'd like to see our downtown area have a diversity of businesses, because right now our residents aren't going downtown. And I'd love for our residents to be going downtown and it be a place that would be successful any time of the day. And so I'd like to work to encourage a diversity of businesses. The other thing that I want to do to improve our quality of life is improve safety on Penman Road. Penman Road runs right through our district, District 3. And everybody I've talked to going door to door agrees, you can't cross Penman Road safely, and it just needs a lot of work. So one of the things that I'm working on is getting some lighted pedestrian crosswalks added to Penman Road. I've been talking to Bill Gulliford, who is our Jacksonville council person, and he has put some money in the budget to do that. And then there's also some other things that we can do, like bike pedestrian paths to make Penman Road safer for walkers and bikers alike. Thank you.
So when I think of quality of life issues, I think about the amenities that Jacksonville Beach presents to us. We have a great new golf course. We have the skateboard park right next to us. We have a wonderful thing called the beach, the Atlantic Ocean that's right in front of us. And we have to maintain our dunes over there because they serve two purposes. Number one, it makes a great beach for us to come visit, but it also provides a protection barrier so that whenever storms come, whenever we have our nor'easters or hurricanes, it kind of reduces the damage from flooding and that kind of thing. So we have to improve upon our dunes for the preservation of them and to keep them and maintain them in a good way. And we do that by planting indigenous life, and we planting indigenous plants that will fall naturally into the dunes, pedestrian walkovers so they're not interrupted by people walking over them, and then some fencing, which is they have fencing that you put out there on the dunes, and what it does is it keeps the sand in place, but yet it's guided by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection so that we're not interrupting the turtle nesting and that kind of thing. Also, the bigger thing, which is going to sound like a broken record between all 5 of us or 6 of us now, is public safety. And so when it comes to public safety, we're missing the beat here. Quite frankly, I think we have an uptick in violent crime, and I'm tired of waking up on Saturday morning and hearing about the latest person that was shot, or the car that went into someone's house and the driver bailed and ran, or the hit and run, or quite frankly, the latest thing, which is the worst of it all, is one of our own police officers being shot. We need to address these problems, and I bring that experience to the table. And if we don't get a hold of our public safety, then economic prosperity and quality of life will not be as good as we want it to be. Those things all rest on public safety. It's the #1 priority of any government, and it's the biggest portion of any city budget.
Thank you. What happened to the bell? Ring the bell. Thank you. Ms. Thompson?
I have to agree with everyone who has spoke. Public safety is our #1 concern. My district is District 1, so I do encompass downtown. I encompass downtown, I encompass Backward Fairway, where people are speeding around that corner. I encompass the majority of our parks. I was reached out by a resident that she was unfortunately assaulted in one of our public bathrooms. Once I found out, I quickly reached out to our police department and notified. So now we have proper eyes on our public parks. I would like to see public safety be brought up, obviously strategic growth, and then investment back in our communities. And that includes keeping up with our parks, keeping up with what we have. We have back alleyways in my district. They're very much overgrown for the most part. I have a resident who's had to call the police because homeless are living back there. This is a concern for my residents' safety and for our community. So So those three things are my big thing. We can also partner with some state and local other officials. For example, Atlantic Beach and Neptune Beach I've looked at for the Green Highway. So they partnered with a group based out of North Carolina that's donating millions of dollars to create new pathways for bikes and walking safety. So there's ways to increase our quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll welcome Mr. Nichols. Mr. Nichols, the question is, how do you plan to improve the quality of life for the Jacksonville Beach citizens?
Like she said, I'm Corey Nichols. I'm running in District 1 in the Middle District, Seat 4. I'm a civil engineer, and first of all, I just want to apologize for being late. City of Jacksonville Beach is making the most critical decision that they can make, and that's selecting the next city manager. And they had a reception for them. You know, I tried to get this pushed back about half an hour. I was not able to, but I apologize for being late. Quality of life is obviously why we live at Jacksonville Beach, why we live at the beach. I go to the beach almost every day. I walk my dog on the beach every day. I love this community. The way that we're going to improve quality of life is by generating tax revenue and investing in our community. This will be done with part of District 1 that I'm in is the Downtown Business District. I was on the Community Redevelopment Agency for 4 years. I was able to, with one of the projects, even save taxpayers over $1 million that got reinvested in that area. If we can fix the Downtown Business District, be pro-business, small, locally owned businesses, so we could, in the Downtown Business District, so our community, the people in our community can have businesses, they will have a vested interest in our downtown, and the shenanigans that have been going on down there won't continue. And if we can generate tax revenue down there, we won't have to raise our property taxes. We'll be able to support our first responders. We'll be able to pay for stuff like the skateboard park, where my name's actually on that as a part of the CRA. But you know, mostly I really do care about this community a ton, and safety and security, as Dan said, is also important. And the way we support our firefighters have not been supported the way they should have been over the last 10 years. They're now leaning towards going into joining with Jacksonville, and I think that's where they're going to end up. That's what they want to do. And we'll be able to pay our police officers the living wages so they can be a part of our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll begin with Mr. Loretta on this question. How do your personal and professional skills translate to effectively serving on the City Council?
Thank you. I feel like I've answered this question maybe twice now, but I'll just continue along. So professionally here in Jacksonville Beach, I've actually worked on a multitude of different projects. Our office, we did the master plan for Paradise Key back in 2004. If anybody's ever walked through Paradise Key, you'll likely see it's easily one of the nicest planned areas here at the beaches. It was a tough project that had, you know, a nasty looking ditch going through it, and that nasty looking ditch is basically turned into an asset, turned into a nice walkway to a little green park within there. Paradise Key's got a multitude of, you know, little parkettes inside, little gazebos, all sorts of stuff. I actually worked on Jack's Refrigeration, the office building at 15th Avenue South in A1A. I sat on the Board of Adjustments at the time, and we actually had to get a variance to allow that to occur. And so on that project, overall site was looking for, let's say, a 6,000 square feet building, and we could fit 18 parking spaces on site. So we needed a variance for 4 parking spaces. So I was able to work with Public Works, try to figure out how to put 6 parking spaces within the right of way and be able to get that variance. Anyways, I'm describing this stuff as these are just fantastic assets to the community. Professionally, again, I deal with land use, I deal with zoning, I deal with managing civil engineering projects on a daily basis, I deal with stormwater, I fully understand resiliency, I fully understand infrastructure, and all of this is, you know, other than public safety, it's everything else that the City Council deals with. It's everything dealing with infrastructure to the budget. I do that on a daily basis, and that's why I should be your candidate. Thank you.
Thank Thank you. Ms. Golding?
So, as I said before, I have 15 years of project management experience, and my strength is getting things done, consensus building, working with teams, problem solving. Those are things that I've been doing for the last 17 years. I've devoted 17 years of my personal time, not for any gain at all, but just because I care about this community, to doing things to make sure that our quality of life is preserved and improved. I've worked cooperatively and collectively with city council members and citizens and volunteers and the city staff. And as I said before, I've been a staunch advocate for quality of life here in Jacks Beach and ensuring that our community is a great place to live, work, and play. The first thing I ever did, which I mentioned before, was the dog park, and that was the first opportunity that I had to learn how city works. And having gone through that process, I feel that I have a really good understanding for how you make things happen in City Hall. And for the last 17 years, I've been going to the city council meetings. It's hard to believe, but it's true. I have been going to the city council meetings for 17 years, not because I'm crazy, but just because I care about the community. As I mentioned before, I did do the height referendum with Beaches Watch, and I've been researching issues and providing factual information. That's something that's really big for me. As an engineer, I'm very data-driven, and 30 seconds or time? Oh, okay, thank you. So when it comes to researching issues, I do that with like a fervor that I think some of you, like Jim Overby, he knows that I'm very meticulous when it comes to data and research. So all of these things and understanding the city and how things work and how you get things done, I believe will make me ready to serve you on the city council.
August 17th, 1992, I stood before Sheriff McMillan and I took an oath. And that oath was to serve the citizens of Duval County. And that's all four corners of this county. And I've done so for 26 years. And with about a year and some change left over, I'll be leaving the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. And I want to take the fight from the streets into our city council in Jacksonville Beach. I want to bring it home. So to me, I come to the city council with no preconceived notions, no preconceived ideas. I've attended some city council meetings, but I don't have an agenda other than to say our community needs to be safe. We need to be able to enjoy our downtown. And part of the reason why we can't enjoy our downtown district is because of the height restriction that's in place. We need to think about maybe lifting that or addressing it just in the central district area. I have a residence that's in Jacksonville Beach, and I have a pool in my backyard, and I do not want a 6-story condo overlooking my backyard where my children play. That needs to stay in place. Our resident community needs to be where it is. But when it comes to our downtown district, a good example is the Coop Restaurant. If you've been to the Coop Restaurant in Atlantic Beach, it's beautiful. It's 2 stories. They have a bar and dining in both levels. They have ample parking. It's well appointed. It looks good. Food's good too. And it's a beautiful building, but we can't put it in our downtown district. So we need to think about how we're going to address that. Maybe through an application process. Are they going to deal with water runoff? Are they going to look at parking? Are they going to look at a traffic engineering study? Things that I've done before as a police officer. So to me, we have to really address the public safety, because in order to enjoy everything else as far as quality of life and economic prosperity is concerned, we have to address our public safety first. And so I expect to see that moving forward, that we address our downtown district, just like Mr. Loretto said and Mr. Corey said, in order to improve upon our downtown.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson?
How your personal and professional skills translate into effective policy?
Thank you. This is a simple answer for me, because I enjoy participating in ways to make our community great. Over the past 3 years, I routinely attend our city council meetings, worked on implementing improvements to the Carver Center, and have volunteered with our Jacksonville Beach Police Department, even completing our Citizens Police Academy. Additionally, I have also been the voice behind our police department getting another drug dog after our child found a crack pipe at our park. Additionally, I work in finance and IT. Computers and numbers is my game. I do finance for a living with JPMorgan Chase. We budget a multi-billion-dollar budget, and we are in charge of in Jacksonville over 3,000 employees. I also participate in other community service throughout Jacksonville, such as our beach cleanups, mentoring elementary children, and helping out at homeless shelters. A lot of these activities just involve a few hours for me and my family to get out and meet our neighbors. When I get elected to council, I expect to continue these activities and enact some ways to highlight and benefit the community. I've never been a public servant until now, but I'm looking for this opportunity. I've also never been asked not to return on a public position. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols?
Thank you. Like I said, I was on the Community Redevelopment Agency for 4 years. I did a lot of research. I understand how the funding works for that. I started asking questions. When I got on it, it was a rubber stamp. It was, let's see how fast we can get through this meeting. And that was unacceptable to me. We started doing research, started asking questions. You know, it made the meetings longer, but you know what? We were able to get better projects. We were able to save money. We were able to get some really important answers to questions. I grew up in Gainesville. I went to the University of Florida. I have a civil engineering degree. I have a master's in construction management. I worked for the Department of Transportation for about 10 years. I was on the PE trainee program. My whole life I have overseen infrastructure construction projects. The DOT will hire a contractor low bid. They hire us professionally. We're selected based on our qualifications. And we oversee the contractor to make sure they build it per plan and specification. I'm in charge of hundreds of millions of dollars worth of construction, and my goal is to not waste taxpayers' money. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do here as well. I'm a business owner. I own my company now. In the last 5 years, we've grown it from a 10-person company to an 85-person company. I have people from Pensacola to Key West. I have the disaster recovery contract for District 2, which is 17 counties, which includes Duval County. And we were intimately involved in this cleanup right now with my people that are in the Panhandle in District 3. And, you know, this is what we do. We work with the community. We work for the community. One of the issues that I think will really help with what we're doing in public works, the construction contracts are written very poorly. We don't enforce liquidated damages. We let the contractor start when they want to. And we got 30 seconds or? Oh, I'm sorry. I'll pick up then.
And we'll end with Ms. Dumont.
My professional experience makes me uniquely qualified to sit on City Council to represent those who live in South Jacks Beach. I have legislative experience from all the task forces, councils, commissions, everything else that I've sat on. I was on the task force for the consolidated government that analyzed the 1968 consolidation of the county of Jacksonville. That was a 10-month project in 2013 and 2014. I intimately know about the consolidation. That is going to be critical with new leadership within the city that's coming up, with the city manager, Public Works is a new person, as well as a new police chief. You have to understand the history behind something beforehand and the legislative skills that's being worked well with other people on the council. Same thing with the Planning Commission, my Public Service Grants Council. I also run my own, I am a consultant on the side of my day job, or night job, because I teach at night. So I do also do consulting with organizations, and that consulting is on strategic planning and strategy and leadership. And that is what the city needs. We need to look for that long-term goal, not just all these. I've walked through Paradise Key. It is beautiful. It's gorgeous. But being on city council is far more than just creating a beautiful space. It deals with budgeting, it deals with HR, it deals with strategy, it deals with the long view. And that's what I bring to the table with all of my experiences. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start this question with Ms. Golding. Please state a unique characteristic of your district and what your top priority is for your particular district and why.
Well, I've already said this before, Penman Road is, I wouldn't say it's a unique characteristic, but it is a roadway that is heavily used, and it's basically an alternate to A1A. Obviously a lot of people use it because it's much easier to use Penman Road than it is to use A1A at times. But Penman Road has a lot of safety issues, and it's a road that's been neglected for quite some time. Back in 2007, the City of Jacks Beach did a Penman Road study. We had consultants come in, and they evaluated the roadway, and there were a lot of issues that they found with it. Now, Penman Road is a Jacksonville road, so we can't just do what we want to do with Penman Road. We have to work with the City of Jacksonville to make the changes that need to be made for Penman Road. Some of the changes that need to be made are we need our commercial area to be improved because it's not actually very safe to go in and out of the commercial businesses. So there's a lot of roadway work that can be done on Penman Road to improve the commercial area. But as I said before, we need pedestrian safety, and it's currently, there are not any safe places to cross Penman Road for over a mile of Penman Road. And as I said, I've been working with Bill Gulliford to get some money put in the budget for Jacksonville to have some lighted pedestrian crosswalks. I don't know if you guys saw, but there's one here in South Jacks Beach on South Beach Parkway. It's a great crosswalk. You push a button and the lights start flashing and the cars should stop and then the pedestrians can cross. And also I'd like to see bike pedestrian paths added to our roadway because right now as it is, my husband and I, we walk along Penman Road with our dog and the sidewalk's not wide enough for bicyclists and for walkers to be able to navigate. So Penman Road is the issue that I'm going to be focusing on when I'm your city council person.
So this might be the position where we're diametrically opposed. I do agree that Penman Road is a problem that we have in our district, and it's also a focal point. I don't believe that raised crosswalks with flashing lights and yellow paint is the answer. If you want to know what the answer is, go take a look at San Marco Boulevard. San Marco Boulevard was the sister road to Penman Road. It was two ways with a center crossing, center turning lane. What they did is they did a study of it and they put roundabouts there. They put 3 roundabouts, 1 at the end, 2 in the middle. What that does is it immediately creates traffic speed control all by itself, in of itself. So you don't have to put any kind of raised bumps or flashing lights. The design of the roundabout reduces speed to the point where it needs to be. Also, it provides safe pedestrian crossing without having to put raised medians, which actually cause traffic jams. Those create traffic problems more than they prevent them. That's why if you look over in Europe and all the roadways over there, they always use roundabouts. But what's more unique about this is it looks like Mr. Gulliford's replacement is going to be Rory Diamond, who's a friend of mine. And we can have a narrative and question him and have him on our side to work on the improvements for Penman Road. And having a constituent on your side is very important. So I think that partnering up with our city councilman to make that road look the way it should is very important. Also, running right down the middle of Penman Road real quick is a natural gas pipeline. It feeds commercial businesses. We should be talking about moving that into the residential area to improve upon energy services. So that's one of the things that I want to take a look at as we move into city council. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson?
I feel like I was made for this question. Everyone's going to assume that I'm going to talk about our downtown. I'm not. Our issue is residential parking and what's the development that's happening in our community. We're having developers that are coming in and tearing down good quality homes and putting up duplexes. And they're charging an astronomical amount to where renters aren't able to afford it. I have, at the end of my street, I have 8 renters in a 4-bedroom house. Each one has a car. Where I live, the land and development code, I do not have a driveway. Majority of my neighbors do not have a driveway. I understood that when I bought my house, but I also did not realize I couldn't ask them to move if they parked in front of my house. This is an issue. I have a gentleman, Mr. James, at the end of my street. He's handicapped. He relies on a bus every day to get to and from. There's been times he's had to miss his appointment because his bus can't get to him. These are the problems my district is facing. We need to look and update what we have. See how we've left current residents behind. I'm okay with new residents coming in, but we can't leave our current residents behind. We need to make sure that we're developing as unison. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols?
Please state your name, urgency of your district, and what your top priority is for your particular district.
Gotcha. I'm going to go the other direction. I really think that the downtown district, business district, is really key to Jacksonville Beach as a whole, as well as District 1. It's going to be in District 1. I've got a good relationship with the majority of the business owners. I know that they want something better down there. I think that we can, if we focus on that area, we can generate the tax revenue necessary in order to fix that. Hopefully, Margaritaville will end up breaking out ground here shortly. I mean, we had a young man murdered out there recently, and it made them think twice about it. We need to have the right people on the city council for the people that want to come invest in this community to feel comfortable in order to do it, that there's the proper leadership, and that's why picking the next city manager is very critical. I also do have a good relationship with Rory Diamond, who will most likely be Bill Relaford's replacement, and we'll work together in order to be able to fix this. Also, with working for the Department of Transportation, I know everybody in the Department of Transportation from the top to the bottom. If you want to get work done, our current mayor and everybody else, they were able to get a decent amount of money to try to fix some of our drainage projects, but they didn't get enough money. It's going to be better. It's not going to solve our problems. We need to work with that to fix our infrastructure, and like I said, the downtown business district is where we need to figure out how to generate tax revenue in order to improve everybody's life.
Thank you. And Ms. Dumont?
One of the things I've noticed while walking the neighborhoods and talking to the people who live in District 2 is that the issues are different in different areas of the district. So in Constitution Cove and in the sanctuary, they have flooding issues. In this area right here, it is short-term vacation rentals, Airbnbs. That ends up being a big issue. When you go to the east side of 3rd, that ends up being more the beach access and the walkovers and having access to be able to get there. So it depends on where you are as to what your main issue is. The city is already dealing with a lot of the flooding issues and stormwater runoff in Constitution Cove and Sanctuary, and that should be done within a couple of years. Some of this is going through assessments right now. But I want to focus on the Airbnbs because there's a lot of talk about this, at least in the city council meetings. Airbnbs, the city we cannot ban Airbnbs or short-term vacation rentals because the state of Florida passed legislation in 2001 said that if you don't already have legislation on the books, you cannot stop it. It doesn't mean that we have to let it all just everything can turn into a short-term vacation rental. What it means is we have different tools at our disposal to be able to use to try and control the issues. We have a lot of short-term vacation rentals here at the beach. I have friends who come down from Atlanta, and it's 2 families, and they always rent out a house. It just makes more sense for them. The vast majority of the vacation rentals are not problematic. There are a handful that are really causing some angst in certain neighborhoods. But we have to use certain tools. And so some of these tools are to look at it, look at the unit and try and regulate the parking. What about the number of people who are allowed to actually be advertised that it could sleep? So there's one on Horn Street right over here that's advertised for 17 people. It has 2 bathrooms. So that one of the ways that we can kind of control that is with those 2 bathrooms, if we only have 4 individuals per full bathroom, we can reduce the number there. And that reduces the parking as well. Thank you.
Thank you. The question, again, was what are unique characteristics to the district? I'm running Joseph Loretta for Seat 5, the Southern District here in Jacksonville Beach. I'll start off, the Southern District's a very wealthy district. It actually also has the largest commercial shopping hub in Jacksonville Beach. Quite frankly, it handles all of Central Jacks Beach, South Jacks Beach, North Ponte Vedra, and so forth. We have a community redevelopment area in the southern portion of Jacksonville Beach that this park is actually located in. That's a third unique characteristic. And quite frankly, we got the best park in Jacksonville Beach, and that's this park right here. What do I want to do? What can I assist in this regard? In the end, the CRA, what does it need? The CRA is fully built out. So right now, moving forward, it's all about maintenance of infrastructure and preparing for the future. And so that's the number one thing the CRA should be focusing on, maintenance and preparing for the future with infrastructure, and quite frankly, just making sure everything looks nice. Getting past to the overall community, as I've stated before, I really want to continue to focus on bicycle and pedestrian connectivity. It's just very unfortunate and very difficult for the average homeowner to be able to go down Jacksonville Drive or down Osceola to get to the beach. It's very unsafe, and it really needs to be changed. Once you get past the beach, despite First Street may not be the best design for a bicycle and pedestrian connection, it's really not that unsafe. And then third, as I've stated before, I really want to help you all build a pool in your backyard. And that's my focus, that's my overall goal. And, I really appreciate your time. Again, Joseph Loretta, thank you very much.
Thank you. And Mr. Jansen, we'll start with you on this question. What specific recommendation or recommendations would you make to improve downtown safety and welcoming for beaches, families, and visitors? That's been a key issue apparently tonight.
Yeah, it's the broken record tonight. Obviously, I'm going to sound like I'm repeating myself because I think we've all talked about it. The key to the downtown district is improving safety. There's things that were brought up tonight, things that I've worked hand in hand, and one of them is crime prevention through environmental design. I'll give you one example of how we can employ that. If we couldn't do anything with as far as building is concerned in the downtown district, because we're trapped at where we're at and only have bars, then what we need to do is we need to look at employing this crime prevention through environmental design. And the way you do that is, let's take for an example, this is one example of many that I've worked with. From 1:45 in the morning to 2:15 in the morning. We can do what's called lane reversal. We can take the traffic that's going through the downtown area, we route just like they do for a Jaguar game, and you make it all the lanes go out of Jacksonville Beach onto 3rd Street and out down Beach Boulevard. So you push all that traffic out. Because 3 of the shootings that we had were drive-bys. That means they got in their car, they got out on 3rd Street, they circled the block, they came back down 1st Street, and they shot the person that was their target. So we need to look at that and say, there's one example of crime prevention through environmental design that we can employ in the downtown district. Again, I'll repeat myself in saying that I think that we should really take a hard look at our downtown district and how do we develop it. Do we lift that height restriction so we can put mixed use where we have retail on the bottom and residents or businesses, offices on the top. You can't do that in 35 feet. You need 55 feet for fire code and fire suppression. So make it an application process, make everybody qualified, and then we can have a better downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson? We're looking for specific recommendations.
Downtown, we have some things that are actually going in the works right now. In July, we had our cameras became active. They're top of the line, they have better coverage. What we're missing is our lighting. Lighting has just been approved in our budget, and that's going to be installed within the next few months. This will help improve our police's visibility, which will help keep eyes on all of our visitors and residents downtown. We are also improving our signage, so this will help make sure residents know where they're going. Some other things that we need to consider is our homeless population is starting to creep into our downtown and making it less inviting for our residents and our visitors. That is something that I've heard about. They don't want to go to Lincoln Plaza because they are getting hassled for money. They don't want to walk down First Street because people are asking for money. So we need to be able to support our mission house, our beam, our churches, as well as our police officers on creating creative solutions to help alleviate that. Lastly, I kind of want to echo what Dan was saying. Not so much with lane reversal, but create a one-way in, one-way out. So if you are going downtown to party or to enjoy a festival, you have an entrance only and an exit only. This way we can kind of monitor who's coming in and who's coming out. We also can work with the partnering police force. We have Neptune Beach, Ponte Vedra, and then JSO that can help with stops outside of our downtown district after hours. As our crime seems to be happening after midnight, we've also done some changes with the SRX license. Something that's being put on the books or being put up for vote is changing the SRX licenses for new establishments will be closing at midnight. The ones that are grandfathered are the ones that we have that will be open till 2. Now, we have the 90-day infraction. 2 in 90 days, they lose their permit. Now it's going to be 2 in a year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols.
Thank you. First of all, as Shane was saying, they've been talking about bringing a restriction to SRX licenses. Originally, they were going to implement it, and then they realized that you're going to have to grandfather people in, and really, at that point, what are you really accomplishing? Because what you've done is, everybody that already has it, you're not solving a problem. What you're doing is, future businesses that want to come into that area, they're going to look and go, I want to bring my business to a place where I'm competing on an unlevel playing field. So with that, I'm against any changes to the current SRX status. The one thing that I think we need to do is I think we need a parking garage in the downtown business district. I think it needs to be off of Beach Boulevard. It needs to be in the lot close to sneakers. What that accomplishes, if people are going to come into our community, they're going to go into the garage, and it's right off the beach. They're not going to be driving through that area. We can create a walking, pedestrian-friendly area on First Street. When they park in the garage, you have it well lit, you have cameras, you have police officers that are outside there. So when they come in and park, they're going to walk out, they're going to be on video, and they're going to walk by our great Jacksonville Beach police officers, and they'll know that when they leave, if they cause problems, they're going to have to walk right by those same police officers going back in. The lighting, as long as it's contained, it's good. I know we have to be careful with the sea turtles. There are ways that you can have better lighting in the downtown business district, which the dim lighting does lead to more crime. So there's ways you can put up shields with different planning and stuff to be able to stop that. And really, that's it for this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dumont.
I moved here in 2010, and since that time, all of the people who ran for office and sat on the dais kept asking the same question. How do we get more visitors to the beach? How do we get more visitors to the beach? I think they've been asking the fundamentally wrong question. They should be asking, how do they get us, the residents, to want to go downtown, to want to go to our local businesses, to want to use our public spaces? If we have incentives for property owners and business owners to start their businesses here and get us, the residents, to go down there, visitors who want to come here will have the same interests and values that we do. Right now, this city is like 2 different cities. There's where we live, and then there's the downtown. If you look at successful cities throughout the country, people who live there want to go downtown as well, and that is how it should be here as well. So what we need to do is really look at thinking outside the box. How do we incentivize business owners? The SRX license and changing that is one tool, but there's no just one tool to fix it all. It's going to be multiple levers that have to be pushed to get to this common goal. And my common goal is to make us want to go downtown. How do we incentivize those small businesses? One way to start is to start with an economic development officer, not just for downtown. The city has to be looked at holistically. But that person would be able to lead small business owners through a lot of the process of how to start a business. And then they can work with the chamber as well as the Small Business Development Center at UNF on creating a solid business plan, so then they can go to a financial institution and attract the funding that they need to be able to afford to open up a business in this city, because the business space is not inexpensive. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Loretta.
Thank you. So I am a chairperson for a nonprofit here called Urban Land Institute. I'm the chairperson for the Technical Advisory Panel. The Urban Land Institute is really about proper stewardship and urban design across the entire United States and worldwide. It's really about figuring out how to make downtown successful. The Technical Advisory Panel that we do is basically a program where the ULI comes in to a local municipality, and for a $20,000 fee, we bring in a group of 6 to 8 experts from across the state, across the country, all these different folks who may have ideas on land use, may have ideas on public safety, may have ideas on parking, and we can get a multitude of fantastic high-level experience throughout the country to come here and provide, a look at what have we done downtown and where do we need to improve. I mean, quite frankly, we really need to review and look at our vision plan and just make sure we're really following the correct path moving forward. Next, we talk about parking, metered parking. If we're able to actually turn into more of a modern metered parking situation, along with parking garage, which will be next comment, but a metered parking situation allows you to put your credit card in. You have to likely put your license plate number into that. The city, the police department, we can gather a significant amount of data when you accomplish that task. And all that data can be used for crime prevention, can be used and make sure that we know, hey, Mr. Loretta, I'm down here at this parking space V12, and I came at 6 and I left at a certain time period. And if my car's been vandalized, then at least we know that I was here at that specific time. But the bad people, they'll be known too. Lastly, to make downtown work, again, I agree, we do need a parking garage, because in the end, we need to actually open up other lands for public-private partnerships. We need a city manager who has CRA experience to help this happen, so that way we can make downtown work. Thank you.
Okay, as far as the downtown goes and public safety, I'd like to respond to a few things that my opponent mentioned about lane reversal. That's something that our police department is currently doing. I've done several ride-alongs because I did the Citizens Police Academy back in 2005. And since I graduated from the Citizens Police Academy, I have been doing ride-alongs with our police officers. And between 1 o'clock and 2:30 in the morning, they are pushing people out of the Central Business District a certain way, and they're not allowing them to use the roadways the normal way. So that's already being done. And the lighting, like Ms. Thompson said, that is something that's going to be a very helpful thing, I think. Of course, it is going to be somewhat limited because of the turtles, but that's an important piece of making our downtown area safer. But one of the things that I think needs to happen, as I mentioned before, is we do need to see a diversity of businesses down there, because right now we have an issue with overconsumption of alcohol. And as our current police chief said, overconsumption of alcohol creates good victims, and that is a big problem. So I really want to see us do some things to diversify our businesses, and one of the ways I think we can do that is perhaps it's a task force or it's some kind of committee. But we put together a group of people that are stakeholders. So we would have landowners from the district, we would have businesses from the district, we would have residents, we would have people from the CRA, somebody from the police department. and get together and work on ideas for how we can improve our central business district. But this would be something that would be ongoing. It wouldn't just be a one-time thing like we did with the vision plan. This is something where we'd be meeting on a regular basis, and we would be talking about the issues and following up on the issues and ensuring that there's accountability on what needs to be done to change the downtown area.
Thank you. Okay, so here's a question for the audience. The time is about 8:05. As you know, I like to begin and end on time. However, I'll leave it up to the audience. Would you like to hear closing statements? Raise your hand. Okay, looks like we have a consensus here. So, for your closing statement, the question is, actually it's two parts. Who is your mentor and why? And why should the voters support you versus your opponent? And we will start with Ms. Thompson. And you'll have 2 minutes to answer.
Thank you. My mentor during this process has been Bruce Thomason. He and I have created a relationship since I've been a homeowner. I bought my house in 2009 when he was chief of police, and throughout the years I created a relationship as a resident with him when he was chief of police all the way through his council. I admire what he's done. When he became an elected official, he had quarterly meetings with his residents, and I appreciated that. I want to continue that. I want to continue to have the trust from my residents and let them know their voice is not falling on deaf ears. I'm better suited for this position for 3 simple reasons. One, I am a homeowner, I'm a volunteer and an advocate for this community. I'm seeking nothing more than improvement of mine, my family's, and fellow residents. My goals for the district remain focused on those. 2, while not an elected position, I have served alongside community leaders that have made a true and positive difference here in our district. And these leaders not only mentored me, but have encouraged me to move from simply a volunteer to seek an elected official position. Working to continue to enhance our community from a position of a servant leadership. And 3, as stated earlier, while I am sure others are appreciative of my opponent's zealous service in years past of our community, I would be remiss if I did not point out that my opponent had previously been asked unanimously to resign in his leadership role. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols?
Well, just to reflect what she was pointing out, I think it's pretty obvious. If you stand up for the community and the residents of the community against the people that have been running it and not being transparent and asking difficult questions and trying to improve this, you're going to upset some people. And let me tell you, running for mayor against a sitting mayor that has name recognition and coming as close as I did to winning at that time showed that a lot of the residents in Jacksonville Beach are behind me. I knew when I made the decision to run that there's no way that they were going to allow me to continue on the CRA. At that point in time, the CRA, it's still a rubber stamp. Everything passes. And the bad part about that is it allows it when it gets sent to the city council, they're assuming that the CRA members have done their due diligence. And when I got on there, that had not happened. I'm hoping that there's more due diligence that has happened. As my mentor, I have to go with my dad. He is the greatest guy I know. He's been in the cardiology department at Shands in Gainesville since 1974. He's really taught me how to care about the community. He, being in Gainesville and being in academia to the extent that he is, he does lean a little more left than I would, but I still love him, and we really get along extremely well. He has won the World Cardiology Conference Lifetime Achievement Award. He's written the #1 cardiovascular textbook in the world, and he's my idol, he's my mentor, and I appreciate your time. And I'm Corey Nichols in District 1. I really appreciate your vote. We're going to do something amazing in Jacksonville Beach over the next 5 to 10 years, and I really hope to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Dumont?
Mentor is that made me go, who is my mentor? Didn't really have one as a child, didn't have one as a teenager, didn't have one in my 20s. Got into my 30s and I met my husband, and he's a Navy CB veteran, great guy. We have a partnership, and so I guess I would say that he would be my mentor, because we work together, like we literally work together. We're a couple doors apart. We both hold the same types of positions at UNF, and he really encouraged me and supported me to do this, to run for office here. So this is a unique city. This is a lovely city. And when we moved here, whether we bought or we rented, we paid more per square foot than if we lived on the other side of the ditch. And the reason for that is the quality of life out here. We didn't invest in just a piece of property. We invested in a way of life. And I want to make sure that we maintain that way of life. We need to make sure that we maintain our return on investment. So what can I do on City Council for you? I will be open, I will be transparent, I will be very responsive. My monthly newsletters would be continued. I'd hold monthly or quarterly meetings with you. I want to make sure that you are involved and I can hear what's going on in your neighborhoods. I know what's going on 16th Avenue South near CVS. I don't necessarily know what's going on everywhere else unless you let me know. And so I can guarantee that I will be transparent and accountable, and I will be there listening to you and making sure your concerns are heard in City Hall. My name is Georgette Dumont. I am running for Jacksonville Beach City Council, South Jacks Beach. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Loretto?
Thank you. My father, he was a mechanical engineer. He had a degree in electrical engineer, got a master's in business administration from Washington University in St. Louis. He worked at McDonnell Douglas as an aeronautical engineer for 25 years. 1991, the Friday before Christmas, my mom was called home, and my father lost his job. And it was a tough time, obviously a tough situation. My mom really always cared about Christmas. Christmas has always been a big time in my family. I'm sure that's why I love it today. In the end, why is my father my mentor? You know, my parents lived their whole lives to make my life fantastic. And that's really what I want to do for the city of Jacksonville Beach. But getting past that, I mean, my dad, he went back to school. He's 55, 53. You can't get a job at that point, especially in the current market in 1991. He went back, he became a poker dealer. And then he became the pit boss of a poker room in St. Louis. He worked nights my entire time in high school. If it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't be here today. So my father is my mentor. What differentiates me from my opponent? I truly understand land use, zoning. I got a strong understanding of design. I understand infrastructure. These are all things that are important here on your city council. I come from a collaborative background. I work on public and private sector jobs. Public sector jobs, I work on coordinating charrettes. I sit down with stakeholders, such as in meetings such as this, and we make things happen. That's why I should be your city council member. Relationships. I have relationships through different organizations that I'm involved in. The International Council of Shopping Centers, the Urban Land Institute, and Northeast Florida Builders Association. I have relationships across the state and across the United States, and that will help Jacksonville Beach become the fantastic place that we're all looking for. Again, Joseph Loretta, thank you very much.
This is a tough one for me because I can't really say that I have a mentor. There are people that I've respected, and they've really made an impact on my life. One of those people, her name is Leona Shedden. She was the executive director of the Humane Society, but she was somebody that was level-headed, and she always had the right answers and just always knew how to address issues. Like Georgette, I depend a lot on my husband. I really appreciate his advice. I may not consider him a mentor, but like her, he is a partner, and he's somebody who's helped me through decisions in life, and that's really been very important for me. What differentiates me from my opponent? I didn't grow up here, but I've lived here for 18 years, and I have devoted my personal time to this community because I care about this community, and I have a proven record of getting things done. I've not sat on the sidelines. When there have been issues that have come up, I've gotten involved because I want to find a way to address the issues and to make things better, because we live in a really great community. I didn't grow up at the beach, but I absolutely love the beach, and it's been a wonderful home for us, and it's a place that we are planning to live the rest of our lives. But I also, having been to the city council meetings and been involved as much as I have a knowledge, I have an understanding of the issues, and I'm ready to hit the ground running day one. I do want to say that as your representative, I promise to listen openly to all sides of every issue and make decisions based on what's in the best interest of the community. And that's really my main goal. I have no agenda other than to do a great job and to make our community a great place to live, work, and play. My name is Sandy Golding. I'm running for District 3, Seat 6, and I'd be honored to have your vote November 6th.
That's a tough question. Who's your mentor? So when I'm sitting here thinking about it, trying to reflect on who it might be, I have a lot to choose from. Sheriff Rutherford, who helped me through my career. Sheriff Williams, who's continuing to help me in my career right now. My mother, who raised me right, who lives right here in Jacksonville Beach. My wife, who's been with me lockstep every bit of the way. But at the end of the day, I'd have to say the one true mentor that I have for me is a gentleman that I met at Beach United Methodist Church. He was a youth pastor there, and then he opened up his own church where we now are active members. And that's at the Church of 1122, and his name is Joby Martin. He keeps me grounded, he keeps me focused, and he has my vision set where it needs to be. And so, I just want to say that I'm blessed to have the opportunity to speak to you, and that I want to thank you for your time that you took out of your evening to listen to all the candidates here. I want to thank my wife, who's been a blessing to me every step of the way. Running a campaign, as I can tell you, is very difficult, especially when you have kids in elementary school and you have a job that requires you to be on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I got called out during some of these events. And so we opened our doors to foreign exchange students. We did 2 of those. We opened up our doors to foster care. We did 9 children, 9 sibling groups. We opened our doors to 2 adopted children. All this to tell you that we have the true public servant heart. And we want to carry that forward into the city council moving forward. I have the endorsement of Congressman Rutherford, Senator Bean, State Representative Cord Bird, and these are gentlemen that can get things done if we need some help. If we have a catastrophe or a natural disaster, you better have a good working relationship with those type of endorsements if you want to get things done. So I ask you to vote for Dan Jameson, November 6th, and I do appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Let's give a nice round of applause for them. It ain't easy being on this side, let me tell you. So just a couple of reminders. Early voting begins October 22nd. The general election is November 6th. As I stated earlier, their answers to the questions will be posted on our website along with the video of tonight's forum. Should be posted there by tomorrow, so please let your friends know, neighbors know who were not able to attend tonight's forum. We really appreciate you coming out, and As I said, we have the room until 9 o'clock. I imagine the candidates will stay afterwards to maybe answer your own individual questions. So thank you again for being such an attentive audience. Thank you.